Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally the end of the 2020-2021 Premier League season, and that can only mean one thing. It means it's time to look at my predictions, which I made all the way back in August. And I will give you guys a fair warning, I only got one right this year. I made my original predictions over on my TikTok, and if you haven't gone and followed me over there, make sure you go and do so. All the links are down below as usual. But no more ifs and buts, let's just crack into this, which should be very, very exciting. And hopefully you guys will laugh at me too much at some of my predictions this year, but I hope you can cut me a little bit of slack with some of my predictions, because this is probably one of the most unpredictable Premier League seasons we have ever seen. Now let's crack on with the bottom three. I'm going to start with Sheffield United, who I originally thought were going to finish 10th. They obviously suffered a lot with second season syndrome. I don't think anybody really expected them to do as poorly as they did. I mean, they were absolutely awful for the first half of the season. They clawed it back after beating Man United, but very disappointed in Chris Wilder and his squad. They did lose a few key players. Some loanees also left, so the defensive structure just wasn't there, which was what propelled them up to that Europa League spot contention. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, I was whole 10 spaces off with Sheffield United. Next we have West Brom, who I thought would finish 16th at the start of the season. I liked some of their signings. Tiers Pereira, I thought he was a great nab off of West Ham. I liked Slaven Bilic. I really thought he was gonna pull it out the bag, but they pulled the plug, brought Sam Allardyce in, and that really didn't work. First time he's ever been relegated from the Premier League. Now I understood the appointment. I just thought Sam Allardyce's football is just past the Premier League. Like, it's unfortunate. Like I was hoping the Baggies would pull it through. They just weren't able to stir it together, even after those great performances against Chelsea. But anyway, they went down. And then the only team that I got right to go down, Fulham, I thought they'd finish dead last. Scott Parker, quality manager. I really think he has a place in the Premier League. Maybe he could be gunning for that Crystal Palace job. I doubt it. I think he will try and get Fulham back into the Premier League. I can't remember if he said he's staying or not yet, but yeah, they played great football. I don't know if you guys have seen the meeting that was videoed of them right before they went to Liverpool. They got a great result there. Just how he was saying that we're not going to sit back at Anfield and we're just going to take it to them. I admired Scott Parker so much for that, and he will eventually have a top job in the Premier League. Maybe he'll start small like a Crystal Palace, as I said. Maybe Wolves, obviously Nuno de Espirito Santo, we'll get on to them in a bit. He's resigned, so there are quite a few job offerings in the Premier League. But Fulham were eventually relegated. The attacking prowess just wasn't enough and leaked too many goals defensively. Yeah, and they are my saving grace in the bottom three. Okay, let's start running through the rest of the bottom half of the table. Burnley came 17th. Kind of late season form was just not great for them. I said they'd finish 12th, so I'm 5 wrong on that one. Sean Dyche, obviously still, the Brexit football's working. They just managed to stay in the Premier League every season. They've had those seasons where they're pushing for those European spots. Yeah, just full-on Owsery football. Next up is Brighton and Hove Albion. Graham Potter, I think, one of the most underrated managers. They've underperformed this year. I think their expected position was pretty much much better in the table, like more around 11th and 12th. Obviously a great win against City, second to last game of the season. I thought that they were going to finish 11th, so I mean, if they would have put away a lot of their chances, maybe I would have been right with that. So it's so hard to predict probably from about 10th to 17th, because you just don't know how well some of these teams are going to do, and how, even especially this season, just how unpredictable it was. So, but I think Brighton, good side, some good players. Graham Potter, solid Premier League manager. I think he's proven a lot of people wrong, and maybe one day he'll be moving up the table with someone else. 15th was Southampton, which I only got 2 wrong. I thought they would finish 13th. They were mid-table for most of the year. Just a few really poor results just sent them back down the table. Danny Ings being injured really didn't help them at all. Clearly, Ralph Hasenhüttl. But yeah, they eventually finished 15th. Not too bad of a season. Stay in the Premier League. Obviously, I'm sure they would have wanted to finish a lot higher than that, but I think in the end, you know what, they will take 15th, especially considering how weak the depth of that squad is. In 14th was Crystal Palace. Now, I thought originally that they were going to get relegated. I thought they were going to come 18th. A bit amazed that they didn't go down, to be fair. They have been absolutely shocking the past month or two. Just absolutely dire football from Roy Hodgson. I think, personally, they just haven't been inspiring. I know Eze is out for the rest of the year, fortunately, with, I think it's an ACL. Something like that. Zaha, he's been okay. You know, obviously the talisman of that side, but I think Roy Hodgson, obviously, he is leaving. 5 points, 45 to 41 points from 13th to 17th. So, I mean, I could have gone either way with a lot of these clubs, but, you know, going back to Crystal Palace, though, I think Frank Lampard is the front runner for that job, and I think if he does get that job, it'll be amazing. I'll secretly be a Crystal Palace fan on the side. I really want Frank to do well. Yeah, he's got some good young players. Eze, obviously. We've got Zaha. Hopefully with Roy Hodgson, I didn't think they were going to stay up, but they did, even though they've been playing quite poorly the past few months. 13th was Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, I thought they were going to snag a Europa League spot in 7th. So I'm 6 away with that. I don't know, just something happened at Wolves. I know they lost Doherty, which was quite a huge blow for them, I'm sure. And just the people they brought in just didn't really suffice. I know Jimenez obviously went down with a very scary injury, a fractured skull. But at the same time, it's just the football. Without him as that talisman up front, it just really didn't work out for them. Negative football, sitting back a lot, pushing on the counter. I feel like a lot of teams very, very counter-attacking football, especially without fans. That style of football just really worked for them. And yeah, I mean, unlucky 13th for Wolves. Hopefully for next season, with new manager coming in, who knows who that's going to be. Probably someone Portuguese. If Jose wasn't going to Roma, maybe he would take the Wolves job. They've still got funding behind them. Got obviously that Portugal link. So maybe they can try and push for that European spot next season. But overall, a disappointing 13th, and me also disappointment in my prediction there. I was 6 off. 12th, Newcastle. I can't believe I'm saying that they have managed to get 12th. I thought they were going to be 17th, just surviving, which I was pretty accurate at especially in the middle of the season. Newcastle were absolutely dreadful. Suffered a bit with injuries. Callum Wilson, I know, went down. I thought Bruce, he was gonna get sacked. I thought Steve Bruce had overstayed his welcome in Newcastle, but they stuck with him, and St. Maximin come on fire. Joe Willock now also I think he's broken the record for youngest player to score in 7 consecutive games. My English letting me down there. But yeah, they've pulled out the bag. I mean, obviously, I feel like I keep repeating myself, not the most exciting football, but Steve Bruce has pulled out the bag. Well done, Stevie. And to finish off with the bottom half of the table, we have Aston Villa. Now, you guys are going to be very disappointed in me with this one. I said they were going to finish 19th. So I am, 8 wrong for the Villains. Look, I don't think anybody really expected them to do as well as they did at the start of the season, especially with that 7-2 win over the champions Liverpool. Full strength Liverpool at that, pretty much. Just Grealish, outstanding this year. Dean Smith deserves a huge amount of credit for that team. Ollie Watkins, too, fantastic player this year in the provisional Euro squad. Congratulations to him. He has been just really, really solid and really giving Southgate a few headaches. I just really didn't think that they were gonna push on and make something happen in the Premier League. Obviously, they survived on the final day last season, much to Roy Keane's displeasure in terms of their celebrations. I remember last season. But yeah, Dean Smith, John Terry, fabulous job they have done, and yeah, they deserve to be where they are. And that moves us into the top 10. Now we're going to start with none other than Kieran Rant's boys, Everton. Now I thought Everton were going to finish 8th, just miss out on one of those Europa League places. And yes, they did miss out on the Europa League places, but not the best final 5 or 6 games for them. Lost to West Ham, I think it was. Dropped points. They dropped points against someone else. Who was it? It was Sheffield United. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's not a good points drop, is it? So, yeah, there was progress from last season, I guess you could say. Very unpredictable season. They finished on a -1 goal difference, though, which I think tells you a little bit. Calvert-Lewin, though good, really good striker, needs a little bit more help than that. Richarlison been inconsistent as well. James Rodriguez also been injured. I mean, would you say it's a disappointment? Yes, especially considering that Leeds, who we'll get to in just a moment, finished ahead of them. Arsenal as well finished ahead of them, who probably their worst season for about 3 decades, I guess, at this point. Yeah, I think they will rue a lot of missed opportunities this season, and depending on what happens in the summer, I don't think they will be contending for Europe anytime soon. Next up, Leeds United. Huge props to Marcelo Bielsa and the whole Leeds squad. I was really skeptical at the start of the year, especially with the intense press of the Bielsa system. I thought they'd finish 14th. So I'm about 5 wrong with that one. But I don't think many really expect. I knew they were going to stay up, but I really worried, especially for the end of the season, with how demanding, especially this schedule, was going to be. They ran more than any other Premier League team. Absolutely lights out football. Sometimes it went wrong for them, especially against Crawley Town. I think it was 3-0, wasn't it? Yeah, that was not good. Patrick Bamford proving a lot of people wrong, including myself. Proving to be a very decent Premier League striker. Very unlucky not to be on the provisional Euro squad. There's some good young English striking talent. We've got Ollie Watkins, Calvert-Lewin, Patrick Bamford. I think we're pretty set once Harry Kane eventually succumbs to his ankles. Now on to Harry's former youth team, Arsenal. I said, believe it or not, I thought they were going to finish 4th. Now looking back at this, I am a little bit embarrassed because I've been making fun of Arsenal all season, especially after that dismal start that they had, where they were very near the drop zone. But I don't think anybody expected them to do as poorly as they did. I mean, obviously winning the FA Cup, and then they won the Community Shield against Liverpool. I thought they had some great momentum, and I thought they were really going to kick on and push to get back in the Champions League, but it just didn't happen for them. I really think Arteta is a little bit to blame, especially I think they have the most red cards out of any team over the past 2 years, and I think they have 3 more than any other club, and that is really not a good sign, especially it's poor. It is poor. For the sake of Arsenal fans, they've had such a wretched year. For their sake, I hope they at least try and climb themselves back into a Europa League spot. because your boy, good evening, Unai Emery just won the Europa League with Villarreal. So there's just some poor decisions at Arsenal. Just, oh man, it's such a tough situation because we know Kroenke is not going to give them any money to spend. Next up is Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs. The team that was vying for the Premier League title at one point. Obviously were first. Harry Kane, one of the seasons of his life. Astonishing season from him. And Son as well, especially at the start of the year. And then they sacked Mourinho a week before the League Cup final. And whichever way you look at it, that was not a good decision. Especially that you bring in Ryan Mason as the interim manager, who's the youngest Premier League manager by like 3 years to ever manage in the Premier League, which is cool and all. I like Ryan Mason. I think he's got good potential as a manager, eventually a top flight manager, I'm sure, permanent manager I should say, but that just set the tone for the rest of the year, and they were unable to just claw their way back into those European places. And they had a little bit of a streak going after Mason came in, but it just never worked out for them. And now Harry Kane wants to leave. He will probably end up at Manchester City, which would be huge. That would be huge for Tottenham. A huge loss, because I think then Son will want to leave as well. It'll be a whole rebuilding project, and what manager comes in there? Like Eric Ten Hag maybe? But I feel like he would reject that. Allegri has reportedly already rejected the Spurs job. I don't think Ryan Mason will get it. Maybe Nuno. I feel like Nuno Espirito. I forgot about Nuno Espirito Santo. I feel like that's it. There we go. Brain has clicked in. He will probably be the next Tottenham manager. Hopefully it works out for Spurs. Obviously, I don't really. Well, I'm very thankful for Spurs. I think they're very thankful that they gave us top 4 on the final day. Very thankful. Thank you, Spurs. God bless you. It's Gareth Bale probably going to be going back to Madrid. Huge money, obviously. So he's got the best goals per minute in the Premier League this season, I believe. So that's a huge threat going up front that they're going to lose as well. So it's not a good time for Spurs. They are going to be losing players. I don't think Harry will stay. I think whether he forces a move or not, it's going to be tough. I'm not too far off with this prediction. I probably should have mentioned that before, but I was only one off with Spurs. I didn't think they were going to get in the Champions League with Mourinho anyway. So I said they were going to come 6th. They came 7th. But I guess that's just because of their own downfall, and of course the uprising of a certain team called West Ham United. Now, obviously, no one really expected West Ham to do as well as they did. Very happy. Got quite a few friends who are West Ham fans. I thought they were going to finish 15th, so I'm whole 9 spaces off with that one. But I just really didn't have the faith in David Moyes. They didn't make great signings. Didn't make any notable ones. But he has just completely rejuvenated the spirit. Jesse Lingard coming in the winter was huge for them as well, obviously. He's turned his whole career around immediately. But I think... And I think Souček has been fantastic. Sofal has been fantastic as well. They've just got such a great unit together, and the whole man management of David Moyes is really showing through. And I guess that just shows to teams like Manchester United, who just gave up on his project so early. David Moyes still has a really good place in the league, and you just got to commend. And if Pep Guardiola hadn't done what he had done this season, he probably would have been manager of the year. They have a lot to be proud of, and I think they will re-sign Jesse Lingard. But it's exciting times for West Ham, and I don't think anybody was really expecting that anytime soon after the past 2 or 3 seasons. But now we move on to the FA Cup winners. Leicester City, who, let's be honest, blew it on the final day to get top 4. Chelsea lost to Villa. Very poor performance from the boys in blue. Both teams in blue, to be fair. Tottenham and Harry Kane and Gareth Bale completely went to the King Power and just stole the show in the past 15 minutes, which I'm very, very thankful for, don't get me wrong. But I'm very disappointed in Leicester City. There's no other word for it, bottled it. Maybe the highs of the FA Cup were still ringing in their minds. Losing to Chelsea on the Tuesday before was huge as well. I think huge momentum shift and confidence for Leicester. You could see in that post-match, not post-match, but like end of the game brawl. It's like Leicester and Chelsea lost their heads, but I think Leicester players in particular lost their heads a little bit. And I feel like, and that just ended up with their downfall. Brendan Rodgers does still deserve a huge amount of credit. They've never won the FA Cup before, and I think they obviously take that every day of the week. And they'll be playing in the Europa League next season. Unfortunately for them, they miss out on that big Champions League money, but I think they will definitely take that FA Cup without a doubt. And I thought they would finish 9th behind Wolves, Everton, and Spurs, which, looking back on it now, I probably should have had a little bit more faith in Brendan Rodgers. They were in the top 4 for like 200 something days. He is a top quality manager, Brendan Rodgers, and whether he gets that big move to a big club at some point, maybe he takes the Spurs job, but I don't know. I feel like that'd be a terrible career decision for him, just because I'm sure, well, maybe they'd have a bit of money after Harry Kane gets sold, but we shall see. Brendan Rodgers, he is top quality, and I do hope that Leicester can push their way into the top 4 again next season, and this time hold on to it. And then there were 4. For me, I got 3 of the top 4 right, got 1 horribly wrong. I can see this already. Chelsea, 4th place. I said we're going to finish 3rd. We were 3rd, and then kind of balled it on the last day against Villa, but thank God again for Spurs, saving our asses again. Thomas Tuchel has done an incredible job taking over for Frank Lampard. We were down in 9th, and it was looking dire at that point. Just lost to Leicester away, convincingly as well. Whether it was the right decision, I don't know. Well, what am I saying? Yeah, it was the right decision. We're in a Champions League final. It was the right decision in the end to sack Frank Lampard. Very thankful for what he established and the foundation he had built for the club, for Thomas Tuchel to come in. It worked out for Chelsea. 2 finals, one huge one this Saturday. Top 4, accomplished the goals set out by Marina Granovskaya and Mr. Roman Abramovich, so I'm very thankful. Yeah, the football can be a bit boring at times. Just really need that focal point, that striker. Whether we could somehow bring in Haaland or Harry Kane, or I think Lukaku is the most likely now, especially that Conte has left Inter and the financial situation at Inter is becoming dire. I'm excited for next season. If we do get a striker in, whoever it is, Lukaku, Kane, or Haaland, I think Chelsea have a really good chance of challenging City for that Premier League title. But first, let's think about the Champions League, because I really want to win that. 3rd place, Liverpool. I think a lot of people expected them to finish 2nd, as like I did. Obviously, injuries were huge for them. Losing Van Dijk, Henderson at parts of the season, Matip, Gomez. They lost Trent for a few games, I'm sure. Alisson, just a plethora of injuries. Klopp has done quite an incredible job to get them back into the top 4 when it looked like they were just never gonna even scratch the top 4. And he deserves a huge amount of credit. And they were firing on all cylinders in the past 6 games. Obviously, Alisson's header against West Brom was huge, like massive for their season, and you just knew at that point that they were going to get top 4. Football gods had their hand over Liverpool and be like, yes, you're going in the top 4. We're making sure that you're going to be in the Champions League next season. I was only one off again for this one. I've had quite a few only one off, so can't be too mad about that. But now we shall move on to the 2 Manchester clubs, which obviously Manchester United, the losers today, or yesterday, whenever you guys are watching this, to Villarreal. Oh my god, that was a lot of fun to watch. But anyways, let's be honest with United. When people say that there's progress from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what do you define as progress? A few extra points? I looked in the last few seasons, 74 points would have gotten you last season 3rd place, season before that 3rd place, season before that 5th, and season before that 6th. And that's what Mourinho achieved. Like, he achieved 81 points, but he won the League Cup and the Europa League, something which Ole has failed to do. He has spent money as well. It's not like he's just using the youth players in the team. He's spent like in excess of 200 million. So it's not a great situation for United. I really think it's really not as good as it seems. United fans will be like, what are you on about? We still finished ahead of you. We're second and all this. Ole is our man. I don't think many will say that after tonight, because that was a dire performance from Manchester United. And I think for those United fans who think Ole is the right guy, you are very much mistaken, my friend. They need a top-class manager. Example, Chelsea. We had our club legend come in, laid the foundations. The foundation for that club is great. Great talent. Good youth players coming through the system as well. It's all there. The team is there. It's maybe not a title-winning team, but it's certainly a Champions League level team. But Ole is incapable of taking that club to winning any trophies. My opinion, sack him, bring in Zidane, bring in Allegri, whoever it is. Someone who has a proven track record and that can get United some trophies. Even though I really wouldn't like that, I prefer if Ole would stay and they would continue to be. I predicted Manchester United to actually come 5th. And finally, of course, there's Manchester City, who I got right. The only one I got right was Manchester City. It's clear Pep Guardiola changed his philosophy, changed the style. Instead of just hammering the attack, trying to get 6 goals every game, he has understood, look, the defense is what ultimately wins you the league in these unpredictable seasons, and what ultimately could win you the Champions League. Although we know that's not going to happen because Chelsea are going to the Champions League. But Pep Guardiola does deserve a hell of a lot of credit. Just completely revolutionised that team, playing without a number 9 for most of the season too. He really has been the Pep that we all know and respect. Scored 83 goals this season. They have a plus 51 goal difference, which is actually quite ridiculous now looking at it. It's, 28 more than United? I think that shows you the dominance of them this season. All credit to them. They are 1,000,000% deserving of that Premier League title. There are cracks, and Chelsea and Brighton, they have exposed them. So this Saturday should be quite interesting. But here is the final table from both sides. You can see that here is the actual table. Here is my prediction from the start of the season. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. It might be a little bit long. I feel like I've talked a lot about a lot of teams. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you go down there and click that like button. And while you're down there, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button and turn that bell on for notifications so you never miss one of my videos. And for now, guys, keep the blue flag flying high, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya.